I want to tell you what is the number one most popular type of painting that I've done anyway, and it is the beach. Paintings of the beach, especially sunsets and sunrises. Just that orange, red, blue, purple sky. You throw in some palm trees and you're probably going to sell some paintings. It's interesting because they don't have to be on canvas. They could be on a card like this. In fact, the cards seem to be the most popular for me, but I've seen people do them on sand dollars. You've probably seen that too. I've seen people paint shells that have scenes like this on them. I've seen people hand paint t-shirts, and they seem to sell pretty well. It is probably one of the simplest compositions to do, is the sunset at the beach. It's probably one of the simplest. If you don't know how to do it and you want to know how I did this one, that's what this video is for, so you can see how I did it. I like to do these in real time instead of time-lapse, so it is real time. Not sure how long it is, but it's not that long. But I also like to add a poem, usually. Not always, but today the poem is Summer Sun by Robert Louis Stevenson. And while he doesn't talk about how to sell paintings, he talks about what this painting will do for the person who looks at it after they've posted this on their wall. Do you know what walls these go on? These go on the walls at jobs. People at their job, sitting at their computer. They set it off to the side, behind them or whatever, behind their computer. And then their eyes go up there every now and then. And they think, next week I'm going to the beach. Or tomorrow I'm going to the beach. Or this weekend I'm going to the beach. And not only am I going to the beach, but I'm going to stay at the beach. I'm going to wake up at the beach. I'm going to see that sunrise if I'm on the East Coast. I'm going to see the sunset if I'm on the West Coast. Here in Florida, we have both West and East Coasts. We have both of them. If you go down to the Keys, you can do both of them, like with them in a minute or two. Go to both sides. But anyway, all right, I've shown you the picture. That's what we're painting. It's a super, super easy one to do. But if you take nothing else away from this video, you don't have to watch till the end. I'm telling you now, if you're trying to make money with art, I wouldn't stick to only doing sunsets and beach pictures, but I'm telling you, put a lot of them into your repertoire, into your, into your inventory, so that you have some sales, because you'll be happier if making money is what you want to do, but you also love doing the art. And maybe making money is a necessity in order for you to do your art, which is probably the truth for everybody. Making money is a necessity in order to do your art. So go ahead and do the ones that sell, and then challenge yourself to do the other ones, because those other ones might sell too. And here's the strange thing. I know everybody says this, but the other ones will be the ones everybody clamors for when you die. That's the ones they're going to want. But anyway, today, let's make a little money. Let's make a pretty picture. I'll show you how I did that right now. So the way I want to start this one, instead of making the paper wet, I'm going to keep the paper dry. And I'm going to add some of these reds, and then I will wet the paper after it dries, if that makes sense. I want to spread it afterwards. So I'm doing wet, sort of, kind of. Let's see, what is this one? This is blue. So I want to make a bluish purple sky. I want this to be rich in color. Very rich. Very rich. What is that? Is that purple? No. Do I have a purple in it? I don't think I have a purple in there. I just want it to be rich, very, very rich. And get some of this red down here. I keep a little bit of white, like right there. So, anyway, how you doing? I'm trying to decide what I want to do here. We get some of that yellow off of here. Some of that yellow. Yeah. A little bit of yellow there. Yeah, so we want just a blotch of yellow. And now we can go for the reds, and they will start to become orangish. And the blues will add it to it. The problem with adding blue to it is that it'll turn green, which we don't want. All we want is purples and yellows and reds. We don't want greens, not right now. So just kind of smear it around. Let's get as much red in there as we can and some blue. The idea is to get it as rich as we possibly can. Here we go, get some of that blue. Mix it in there. Just get it very spread out. And now let's add the water to it. I wanted to do it this way just to see if this is a good way to add clouds to the watercolor. Just a way to experiment a little bit. So summertime is here officially. That's what I wanted to do, a summertime picture. Let me get this brush clean. Spread some of that around. Yeah, there we go. Make it very loose and very rich colors. That's what I want. That's what I'm shooting for right now, is rich colors. I gotta let that dry, I think, before I can really mess with it anymore. So I say that, yeah, I keep doing it, right? What's the matter with me? What is the matter with me? I'm picking up the paint here now. Getting some light areas here. Sky, all colors there. I might come back on with that gouache. I'm not sure if I like it like that. We'll see. Now let's go ahead and put a dark horizon on here. See, by adding it dry, it helped to keep it dry, so I don't have to worry about that spreading. There we go. Right now, I get a lot of that red down here, and then we'll add the dark to it later on to get our ocean looking like a morning ocean, or maybe an evening ocean, because the star of the show is going to be the palm trees anyway. Get that in there. So it's summertime, and I always loved summertime when I was a kid. I really loved every season. I honestly did. I grew up in an area in New York City, outside of New York City, where the seasons were really easy to see. And everybody loves winter and everybody loves summer. Well, to tell you the truth, everybody doesn't love some of the seasons. But I always did. I always loved all of them. I'm looking forward to going to the beach tomorrow, which is a summertime thing to do. You know, even though you're in Florida, I'm in Florida. Even though I'm in Florida, it's still, summer is still summer. Even though there's a beach all year long, of course. Right, there's the basis for what I want to do today. I have to let it dry. So I'm going to turn off the camera and I'll be right back. Okay. Well, I brought this old one over here because I think I have some purples in here that I can use. It's a different palette really on this one. Does that purple look good? I can't tell if I like that or not. Not really. I just think the blue needs to be bluer. I think I just want the top of the sky to be a lot bluer. I want the top of the sea to be bluer. Yeah, that looks nice. Just put it in there. Just get the whole top of the card. I want to be blue. The card line is right there. So I do have a poem today, by the way, by Robert Louis Stevenson. And it's called, what do you think it's called? It's called Summer Sun. How many songs do you know about summer? Oh my gosh. In the summertime when the weather is hot. Remember that song? I don't know who did it, but you remember it, right? There's so many summertime songs. I don't do radio anymore, but the one thing I didn't like when I did radio was political season. Don't worry, I'm not going at too much, except to say that I really was not a fan of the political meanness, not just the national elections, but the local elections. People can be mean. I mean mean. Some of them are so mean. Okay, I'm just trying to put some layers of red here and just try to get it darker and lighter. Darker and lighter, meaning I want the contrast to be obvious. But it's kind of cool how watercolor does its thing anyway. Watercolor almost works for you. It does what you want it to do, sort of. Almost always. Almost always. It's not very confident building, is it? Let me see if I can get some of that orange cleaned up over here because I got it dirty. I got it muddy looking. Gotta get it clean. Yeah, that looks nice. Getting a little bit of orange right there. Yeah, that does look nice. And, yeah, the blue. Just a little darker blue. Contrasting against that light, very, very yellow, whitish area. So one more thing about the political season. I've often wondered why they don't just talk about what they're going to do, what they have done, what they like about the guy who's in office, what they don't like about the guy who's in office. Why do they pick on, my big pet peeve is when they pick on the wives, or if there's a female candidate, why do they pick on the husband sometimes? Why do you pick on, or the son, why do they pick on the relatives of the candidates, especially if they did nothing, if they're just there, they're just part of the person's life. It's not fair, really. All right, that's enough. I won't talk anymore about it, except to say I don't like political season, but I like summer. How about that's the way to get out of that? I'm just adding these little areas of clouds by picking up some of the paint. See what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to just spread it, make it very undefined. The undefined sky. Because we're going to have a very defined set of palm trees in here. Yeah. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good right there. That's a nice looking sky. Alright, now let's go back down to the water. I want to make that water darker. See, now that the first layer dried, it's a little bit easier. I don't want to make it too dark, but I'm going to start with some of that black paint and make that horizon rich looking. Very, very far in the distance. And then we'll start to bring that deep blue, the deep blue sea. Bring it closer. Just bring it closer. Here we go. Oh yeah, that's looking very rich now. I like that. Let's get those reds in there. Let's bring them up to the blues. We want to spread them out, keep them light, because we're going to add darkness to them to make the waves, the appearance of waves. Painting waves. I've often thought about just doing one card that's all waves. Like no land, no sky, just waves. Alright, let's get this red in here now. Because we want this ocean to be reflecting that sky. And then we can add the waves once it dries. Add the waves once it dries. Dry waves. There, see what my whole idea here was to get a very rich looking underpainting, if you will, or foundation painting. Yeah. Well, that in and of itself probably looks pretty good. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? All right, let me read the poem to you. This is called Summer Sun by Robert Louis Stevenson. And Robert Louis Stevenson lived from 1850 until 1894. And this is his poem, Summer Sun. Great is the sun, and wide he goes, through empty heaven without repose. And in the blue and glowing days, more thick than rain, he showers his rays. Though closer still the blinds we pull, to keep the shady parlor cool, yet he will find a chink or two to slip his golden fingers through. the dusty attic spider-clad. He through the keyhole maketh glad, and through the broken edge of tiles into the laddered hayloft smiles. Meantime, his golden face around he bears to all the garden ground, and sheds a warm and glittering look among the ivy's inmost nook. Above the hills, along the blue, round the bright air with footing true, to please the child, to paint the rose, the gardener of the world, he goes. Well, he could have called the poem Gardener of the World, but I like when he writes, through the closer, though the closer still the blinds we pull. Did I read it as through when I first read it? It should be though closer still the blinds we pull, to keep the shady parlor cool. And then I like this line, yet he will find a chink or two to slip his golden fingers through. I love that. I'm kind of a fan of dappled light when it comes to paintings, but to put it in a poem. All right, this is almost dry. Let me read one more thing. This is a little bit about Robert Louis Stevenson. He was born November 13th, 1850, in Edinburgh, Scotland. His full name is Robert Louis Balfour Stevenson. It says he came from a long line of prominent lighthouse engineers. Oh, wow. During his boyhood, he spent holidays with his maternal grandfather, a minister and professor of moral philosophy, who shared his love of sermons and storytelling with him. Prone to illness, Stevenson spent many of his early winters in bed, entertained only by his imagination and a great love of reading. Well, that's why he became a poet, probably. He especially loved William Shakespeare, Sir Walter Scott, John Bunyan, and the Arabian Nights. Encouraged to follow the family tradition of lighthouse engineering, Stevenson began studies at the University of Edinburgh in 1867, but quickly discovered he preferred a career in literature. To satisfy his father, he acquired a law degree and was admitted to the bar by the time he was 25. Stevenson spent the next 4 years traveling through Europe, mostly around Paris, publishing essays and articles about his travels. Isn't that interesting? So he lived only 44 years. 1850 to 1894, that's only 44 years. Well, he was a young man. So he gave us today's poem. I kind of like it. What do you think? I'm going to add some more purple, I think, to the water. I'm just going to dab it in there. I think when I'm at the beach, I'm going to try to do some plein air. I'm not sure how it's going to work with watercolor. Maybe I'll do plein air with gouache, because it doesn't require as much water. You can get it straight out of the tube. Okay, let's start to add some of these little folds of waves here. Some of these areas where the light is reflecting off of the water. not big waves, just gentle waves that constantly happen. The waves constantly happen, don't they? There's no real defined wave. You know what I discovered though? If you hear it, here's a little hint on waves. Now, I'm not doing it right now, but you know that old, when you were a child, how you did waves like this? Whoop, whoop, whoop. Well, to be honest with you, that's really not a bad way to do waves. Just to do like that. Let me try it on here. I hope I don't ruin it. But yeah, you just do little waves like that. It actually works. It actually looks pretty good in a painting. Just gotta be subtle about it. You can't be exaggerated. And it can't be uniform. It's gotta be messy. There's a wave right there. There's a wave right there. See? Make sure that light peeks through. It's kind of fun painting waves. It's kind of a fun thing. Well, guess what we're doing over here? We're making a piece of land over here. Because that's where the tree's going to grow from. We're going to plant the tree right there. Let me go ahead and make that darker, I think. That's going to be our piece of ground. Just make it darker and keep the violet color in there. A little darker here on the horizon. I'm doing all of this just to prepare it for the trees. A bit too wet now, huh? Let's get some water off of there. Yeah, I do plan on being outside at the beach at the early morning hours. I love the morning. Just add a little bit of interesting shapes up here. Maybe we don't exactly know what we're looking at. Just some interesting shapes that have to take us over here into the sky. So that's where whatever's happening over there, that's what's going to be the starting point for the trees. There. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully I'm not too far off the camera. Can you see it? Okay. Now the fun part and the scary part is the trees. So we got to be careful not to make them too thick. Got to make them. Look at some of these waves here again. It's a way to get some of that darkness off of the brush. Just little pieces here. All right, here we go. Now this is the quintessential definition of a Florida sunset, is you have to have that palm tree in there. So let's just go ahead and put it in there. Come on, don't be afraid. Just put it up there. There's that quintessential. I'll make two of them. I'll make 2 palm trees. What do you think? 2 palm trees in the sunset. Let's call it a sunset, even though I like the sunrise. Well, if I'm going to be in New Smyrna, then this would be the sunrise, because I'll be on the East Coast. All right, here we go. Here come the palm trees. Make them look like palms. Let's see if I can pull this off. I think I'm doing it. What do you think? Is that working? I think it's working. I think it's working. Am I over the edge? I think I'm over the edge. It's okay. We'll just keep it like that. Okay, let's get these palms out here. Everybody loves sunset pictures, by the way. I know we don't do these always to talk about sales, but the topic of sales comes up all the time. Like, how do you sell them? Well, let's talk about what sells. That might be an important topic. Here's the odd thing for me. Well, first of all, what sells? You know what sells the most? These right here. These sunset pictures. These are the ones that somehow everybody wants a sunset picture. And they're relatively easy to do. You know? They really are. Let me make that the topic of today's video. I'll try to mention that in the intro, which I know you've seen already because I put that on last, but I will tell you a story, okay? A real quick story. So Robin and I did a bunch of plein air paintings to raise money for the Literacy Council in our community. And what they do is they help people who are adults who don't know how to read English. Now, they might know how to read Spanish, which is usually the case, but they never learned how to read English. And in some cases, they just never learned how to read. Through whatever life threw at them, they just never learned how to read. So the Literacy Council was an adult school, kind of, that taught people how to read who hadn't developed those skills in their lifetime. And we raised money for them, and before we raised money, we were given a tour. And here's the thing: when we got the tour, they keep it kind of private, because people who are adults who don't know how to read often are ashamed of that. And if you are one of them, please don't be ashamed of that. If you want to learn to read, there are places, and you will just enjoy your life so much more if you can. You don't have to be like a scholarly reader. You don't have to read books and books and books, but just being able to read little articles and things like that. It's enjoyable. Right? You agree with me? So, what do you think? Holy cow, am I done? But I will tell you, let me finish the story. So we were painting these plein air paintings to raise money for the Literacy Council. And we did. We raised, I am not exaggerating, we raised probably $14,000 We raised $7,000 just with the paintings. And you know we had a radio show, so that's kind of one of the reasons we were able to raise so much money, because we could reach so many people. But yeah, we raised like $14,000 for that literacy council that particular year. All right, well, what does that have to do with what sells? So we did paintings everywhere, and one of the places we went was called, it's here in Florida, it's on the West Coast, it's called Treasure Island. And I had my dog then too, by the way. I miss my dog. So we went to Treasure Island and we painted. And all my painting was the ocean and the sky and some wispy seagrass. That was it. That was all it was. And you want to know something? Everybody wanted that painting. Everybody. You couldn't buy the paintings until the auction was over, so that's what I mean. Everybody wanted it. I think it was the highest selling one. I learned a lesson from that people love the ocean. People love paintings of the ocean. So there we are. There's ours. So, sorry I took so long to get to an important point today. But there we go. Was that a quick one or what? I don't know how long it took, but it wasn't long. Let me fold it over. See how it looks as a card. What do you think? Does that look crazy over there? Should I? Is that a mistake? Let me do something there. Maybe I could make some little palms coming in from the side. Maybe there's a palm tree off camera. Yeah, that's an idea. Yeah, just a few of them. Yeah, that helps balance it, I think. I don't know if you can see my big hands in the way. There we go. What do you think of that now, huh? All right, today is short and sweet. Short and sweet. And hopefully you can use some of that information. Oh gosh, the only thing I really told you that would be useful is that these are the ones that sell. I'm telling you, these are the ones that sell. I'm going to put this one as a print. Maybe I can even demonstrate how it sells, but that might take a few months actually to demonstrate that. But anyway, there we go. That is our, how about we call this Florida sunrise? Florida sunrise, East Coast sunrise. I'm just dabbing it a little bit because you know how when watercolor dries, it dries a little bit lighter than you wanted it to be. But it's pure watercolor today. I was thinking about using pen and ink for the palm trees, but I think I like it with the watercolor. And usually the palm trees have a little bit of thickness to the top of them. Maybe I should have remembered to put that in there. Well, there we go. There's our palm trees. There's our ocean. There's our card. All right. Well, somebody's going to get this. I'll find somebody on the list of people who are in a home or stuck at home. Maybe it'll cheer them up a little bit. Take them to the beach vicariously. Take them to the beach in their mind. All right. Put it this way. I never know how to put these. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.